Hi, Lee. Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. I just want to introduce myself very quickly. Again, my name is Sarah M. I'm from Cambodia. I grew up in a farm area and I enjoyed my childhood. And then when I reached college age, an awful thing happened to my country when the communist Khmer Rouge took over and they come in to destroy our life and destroy our country. I was terribly sick and tired and almost died, but thank goodness I'm grateful that I'm alive. Not only alive, I was able to escape and get out of the country, and I'm here. So I'm so grateful for this beautiful country and beautiful people that helped me get start my new life here. And now it's time for me to give back. Give back in the form of inspiration and encouragement and compassion to people that need the most. So that's why Lee and I are here. And I have my book. It's called How I Survived the Killing Fields. And I'm also a speaker. So you can find more information about me on my website, sarahm.com. Thank you. Back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Sarah. So this show normally when we started up, just the two of us, and we just want to inspire people to have hope because we've been through the uncertain times in our lives. She escaped out from the jungle, and my family had left Vietnam by boat out to the ocean without knowing where we were going, what was going to become of us. So that's the refugee journeys that my family have carried and I have carried with me for 41 years. And this is the time in the position that I think that at, at, at this, this time of my life, nothing more than building a legacy. And this is why, particularly we want to help refugees. But when it comes to mind to the term refugee, most of us thinking of people in the dirt floor in the probably straw huts out in the middle of the desert somewhere or in the island or in the jungle. But there are a lot of refugees right now in Malaysia. They look just like me and you, crammed in an apartment and without status of a refugee because they are just staying in a country illegally, waiting for the third country to accept them for resettlement. And many of them don't have the right like the regular citizen do. And they could not work because they're not legal to go to work. And who I'm talking about is a group called Refugee Film School, which I'm a board member and I'm also a volunteer. And most of the people who actually help out those refugee students are volunteer. And today, I don't need to even introduce me. You want to find out about me, just go leatran.com and all my life story is in there. I have a book, I have a TEDx talk, I have coaching, everything in there. But today I want to dedicate this time to introduce you to the people who volunteer in the group. We have met a few already last week, and yesterday we met a phenomenal young man. His name is Parker, and he was on the show yesterday. Share with us how he volunteered his time to inspire a student, to teach students how to do video graphic and computer software. And today I want to introduce Susan Beauregard. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
It's like French completely.
It
right?
is. It is.
So Susan is a life coach, and we can hear more. Is more than a life coach. Susan got so many things under her belt. I'm gonna let Susan introduce herself and why coaching and why she's choose to mentoring and why kindness and compassion for all the students in the call. So there's a lot of question there, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and start answering. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be on with you guys. Yes, so I am a holistic life coach. I call myself a catalyst coach because I work with my clients to help them find the change that they want to make and spur them forward. And I also have started volunteering with Refugee Film School, being a mentor to one of the students. And it intersects with my life that is involved with Radiant Coaches Academy because I also facilitate to the live Zoom trainings. So I also get to interact with a lot of the other students that are taking advantage of the Rise Malaysia program where they're getting their coaching training for free. So it's been really a wonderful intersection of all the things that I love to do. I love to teach, I love to mentor, I love to coach. So it's perfect. I love the topic of compassion and kindness. I'm one of those people, I love words and I love the meanings of words. And I think sometimes when we hear kindness, we hear compassion, we hear empathy. Like, what does that really mean? And kindness, it's the act of being kind. So you're sympathetic or helpful in nature. And a lot of people, not enough people, I think, are kind to each other nowadays, but a lot of people are. And it's either holding a door for somebody or maybe helping someone get groceries in the car. Compassion, it literally means to suffer together. So it's when you have empathy, which means that you identify with what a person's going through, is what empathy is, and you want to help them.
Right.
The compassion piece is the actual, like, you feel like you're suffering with them. And compassion, I mean, they all fit together so beautifully. I think to have compassion and wanting and feeling what someone's going through, it really is the thing that spurs me to want to help people. I've had so many people in my life act in compassionate ways to me, in kind ways, and it's made such a huge difference in my life. I was born in New London, Connecticut, so I was born in the US, and I'm adopted. And my adopted parents were older, so when I was in first grade, I'll never forget, it was Grandparents' Day. So all the grandparents got to come and spend the day with the children, and all of my grandparents had passed. So I was all alone by myself in the classroom. And there was this older gentleman that walked by, and he stopped and came back in the room and walked up to me and had said, "Are your grandparents coming?" And I said, "No, my grandparents aren't alive anymore." And he said, "Well, I'm your grandfather today."
Aww.
And he spent a little bit of time, and I wanted to show him everything. I was so excited because I was the only child that didn't have someone with me in the classroom. And he's just like, I need to go visit with my other grandchildren. He said, "But thank you so much." And I don't know who he was. I don't even know who his grandchildren were. And that incident, obviously, because I'm 53 now, I mean, it stuck with me so much in my lifetime. It's just amazing how one act can make such a humongous difference in someone's life. A lot of times, I think that people, they want to give back and they don't necessarily know how. And they think, oh, it's going to take a lot of money or like a ton of my time. And it really isn't. Sometimes it's just whatever you can afford, like $1, whatever, or even just taking the time to listen to somebody or to let them know I hear you or I see you, or just ask how they're doing. Like, It's really amazing how you just never know how you touch someone's life. So and it's really, I don't know. I just feel like some people think they need to make these big grand gestures, and it's not the case at all. It really is the really small acts and the small steps. I feel, well, being in Radiant Coaches Academy, I had got to know Jana and you, Lee, and some of the other people on the board of Refugee Film School, and to hear the plight of the refugees in Malaysia. I was not really that aware of, like, there were even a lot of refugees in Malaysia. Like, that was so not in my awareness.
Not too many people knows about it.
Yeah, it was really eye-opening to me. And, I have awareness of what happens in my corner of the world. Here, I live in Willimantic, Connecticut in the US, and I know the struggles that we have here with homelessness and poverty and whatnot. But the thing I appreciate about Radiant is that I get to interact with people from all around the world. It really is a global coaching academy. And I am so grateful that I get to learn about other people, hear their perspective, learn about their cultures, their struggles. And I think we have a lot more in common than people realize. So people focus so much on the differences.
Yeah.
It's just really amazing. So, I mean, I was just really grateful to get involved in refugee film school. There's a new group of students. So I reached out to the school and I was matched with a mentee. And one of the mottos is, the life you change may be your own. And it's definitely happening. I mean, I'm relatively new getting to know this person, but just to see these young people and to hear their stories of, very similar to yours, Lee, and to Sarah's, about having to leave their country because it wasn't safe and not knowing where to go. And I can't even imagine, these young people that are in the film school are probably they're teenagers, maybe early 20s. Yeah.
13 to 20, 21. They're young kids.
Yeah. And my son is 13.
I know.
So I couldn't imagine having to take him for his safety and our safety and flee to a country that you don't know the language, you don't know the culture, you really have no idea what's happening. You don't really speak the language. So to hear my mentee's story was so incredibly moving. And it's true that, I'm going to back up for a second, because with the film school is what they're learning is Canva, which is really cool. So people that don't know Canva, you can create, little, I think videos too, but these little graphics, thank you, which is really neat. But it's also film editing, which is so cool. And I'm not sure which part Parker talked about yesterday that he teaches, but I know I hear his name quite often. He's very well liked, and they think the world of him.
He definitely has made a lot of difference in these kids' lives. And sometimes people don't know. All you need is, and lots of them are free. You just offer a kind word, an encouragement, inspiring words for them to feed on. Because refugee is somebody that who at the end of the road, their hope, the dreams are very foggy. They can't really see that. And you just offer a little light to shine into that fogginess and show them that there is a way to get out of here. It's just going to have to be patient.
Yeah.
But first of all, I want to back up. I want to tell you that I love the word catalyst. Being a chemist for many years, catalyst means exactly, I know exactly what the catalyst does. So I love it because, the catalyst is just something that you just keep regenerating. It just will not die. It's a radical thing. It'll just keep generating. And that's the same thing with kindness. You give one to one person and they're going to turn around. They're going to give it to somebody else. And somebody else is going to give somebody else. And that is how this world, we're going to keep bouncing, because like you inspire me and then I inspire you, what you did for me, it's like we are inspiring each other all the time. And that's the catalyst. And the second thing is, I want to say that it's like, it doesn't take a whole lot to be a mentor either. You actually, and you are right, the phrase that the life you change is your own, because, sometimes we do good deed for selfish reason because we want to feel good. But in this case, we not only feel good, but we learn something, because we learned the life that, sometimes the path that we haven't been gone, and we see that somebody who's who's there, who can actually give us a glimpse of what's inside that person's life. So I want to thank you for, bring that up and also be part of the film school. Now, have you seen the change from your mentee since you mentoring her, and how does it change your life too?
Oh, absolutely. At first, this person was very quiet and a little shy, and I would ask a lot of questions and share about my experience in America and, kind of the animals that are here, and just try to get the conversation going. And I'd asked about, what her day is like and what her life is like. And that was very eye-opening. I had no idea her journey in just whole family just up and leaving the country, war-torn country, and having to share a flat with another family. Luckily the kids know English pretty well, which is helpful, but they don't really know Malaysian.
That's where they live.
Yeah.
That's what would be a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. And to hear some of the stories, and I would ask questions because I'm very curious. I want to really understand what the experience is like, because it's not my experience. I just can't even imagine being a teenager. And because again, I have a 13-year-old son, so I look at my son and his life, and he's going to school and he's with his friends, and the worst thing that happens to him is when we lose internet and he can't get on the,
And they can be very drama. I mean, the kids over here in the silver spoon in their mouth, losing internet is like the end of the world. Yeah, I hear you. I am coming from that area, but sometimes my kids, my nephew, my nieces, my son, they have no way of understanding that. I mean, we can't blame them because they have not been there. But yeah, it is very, very different perspective. And kids been through trauma, they grow up so fast, so much faster than normal kids.
And I think a lot of times, because the children are younger, they may be a little more adaptable and can learn a different language easier to help navigate their families in their new country and their situations. So, I think a lot of times that forces them to grow up as well, because now they're kind of trying to help out and contribute. But it was very eye-opening for me because I didn't realize that they couldn't go to school. They couldn't work legally.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the school that they went to was the United Nations provided the schooling. And even I guess with some of the students, there's some paperwork. And because of COVID and the lockdown, some of them were not able to renew their paperwork, so they could get arrested just going out. And I can't even imagine that. And being in a small apartment with another family and having to share all those resources. And I have to say, my students' attitude is so just such a bright, shining light. Like she really, she's going to make a difference in this world. I feel that very deeply. And I'm not just saying it because she's my mentee. Like there really is such a light. And as we've been meeting, the shift, because I feel at first like very polite, very respectful. And I felt in the beginning, it was a lot of that, just I'm going to be polite and I'm going to be respectful. But as we've been getting to know each other, it's more of a conversation and more of a sharing, and there's excitement. And to see her eyes light up when we meet and talk about things, it's that real human interaction and that connection.
Right.
That is just so, even through Zoom, like you wouldn't think that it's easy to connect through Zoom, but it's just, I don't know, for me, it's life-changing to me. And I know at some point, I'm going to have my son come on and my boyfriend's daughter, because I think it's so important for them to see that perspective and to get to know, and also for them to see kids their age in a different country and connect that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the projects that she's been getting feedback from me on was a narrated film, and it documented the plight. And what was so, I was crying at the end of it when I was watching it, is how she relayed that they feel like they're invisible, that there's no hope, that nobody cares, and that everything that the refugee film school is doing, it gives them hope, it gives them skills.
Yeah.
It makes them feel seen, heard, wanted, that people care. And that's so powerful. And I think regardless of who you are, that's, I think a human need is wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard and just knowing that you matter.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be great if other people signed up to be mentors or to teach a class.
Right.
But if that's not in your comfort level, like think about how you can make that connection in your day-to-day life. Have that compassion to see people. It's really interesting because when I first started coaching, it was in the middle of the pandemic. And at first I'm just like, well, who's going to want to coach? I don't even know. And then as I started doing it more, it was so amazing to me to see my clients and the way they reacted when they had someone, being me, just listening to them.
Yeah.
Like listening to them in non-judgment, really seeing them, really hearing, you know, some would just come to tears, just finally feeling acknowledged. And that I don't even know how to put words around how powerful that is. Yeah, so it's been an amazing experience.
Thank you for sharing those feelings, because Sarah and I completely understand what you're talking about, because we were them once. And that's why I found this cause. I'm so passionate about helping this, because I keep seeing myself in those kids, and they just totally blown me away. And I forgot about me back then. You know, it's like you need to do what you need to do under the circumstances. And now I'm looking at them, it's like how resilient they are, how talented they are, and they grow up so fast, which, you know, I want to say that I grew up very fast too. I think I was born 25 years old. I don't think, like, you know, it's like somebody told me I'm an old soul when they met me a while back. I was like, what's that mean? And it's like, well, you just never a kid. It's like, wow, I never a kid when I was a kid either, because like them, they keep worried, and their parents are always like talking things out in the circumstance, like you don't have a private room to go and close the door and then discuss it and then find a way to make it better. You're right. It's like the whole, everything struggle, the whole family see it, feel it, live it. So you know exactly when is the difficult, the challenge, you are there 24/7. And whenever your parents get angst, you got it too. All the stress is all circulating around in that same cloud. So I understand totally what are they going through. And that's why my thing is like, how can I advocate that everybody understand that these kids, they need hope. They need to see a future that people, and no better yet, you know, I really adore the people that are willing to help, because those people are giving them a bright future. Just a little bit of a time every week, every month, or if you don't have the time, you can just donate a little bit to support the family, put food on the table. But those are the kids that we're going to rely on when we grow old. I mean, not particularly them, but, you know, our generation will need a younger generation that was to handle this planet and to run this earth. And you never know, some of those students will be somebody amazing, you know, 10, 20 years from now. Now, Sarah has not seen this this video that I saw this morning at the school. One of the students did a phenomenal job at, just telling the world who they are, what kind of condition their parents and them, and how do they feel. It is really hard when you leave and you don't have an identity. Mm-hmm. Like I can go out, I can say I'm Chinese, I'm American, I'm a citizen here in this big powerful country or any country. The worst thing is when you go out and you say, I don't belong to any country. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have home to go back to because, my home has been destroyed. I can't go back. That's not my country anymore. The people in my country want to kill me. It's almost like, your parent kicked you out and then you go out and you become an orphan. So there's so much, I don't want to take away what you have been doing, but I'm so sorry. I'm just getting to the mode of, that was kind of like, I have to talk for them because I don't think anybody understands them better than I do or Sarah. Yep. And that's why, I really appreciate all the help, all the people who actually be part of this community to help these kids. And I know that a lot of people that need immediate help right now from country that is in war, I mean, they get accepted. But some of this family that has been trapped for 5, 10, 15 years have kind of been forgotten. Mm-hmm. And where's their future? I mean, how do we? So that is another conversation itself.
Yes.
But what I can say is, I want to dedicate this show to make sure that people understand that they can do something. They can help. Even the little itsy bitsy thing, everything. If everybody is helping a little itsy bitsy, it'll become something that they can take away the burden of COVID being locked down and not worry about, not having food or have to go out and expose yourself to COVID patient out there. So tell us, Susan, what do you think of the Refugee Film School in the long run? Do you see a lot of hope? Do you see a lot of things that great happening from this organization that you believe in and you volunteer? I'd love to hear you project the future and maybe ask your friend, and maybe the audience can get that excitement from you too.
Absolutely. I had first become aware of Refugee Film School through Radiant Coaches Academy when I would see you and Jana, and it really piqued my interest. And as I learned more and started to hear the stories and actually see the work that the students are doing, I know one of the other board members, one of the students edited a video for her website where she introduced herself, put background music. Like, it was really amazing. And I, particularly in this climate where it seems like the refugee crisis is only increasing, I see the school playing such a critical role. And I don't really know for sure, but I get the sense that it has grown quite a bit since the beginning. And the more that people become aware of the good that it's doing and the lives that it's changing, the more people want to get involved. And I just see it continuing to grow. And obviously the need is not going to go away. For me, it's really, I don't know, I can't even describe the feeling that's in my heart right now when I talk to my mentee and we'll message each other, and her gratitude and the way she tells me that I touch her life, but she touches mine. I mean, this isn't me like I'm a mentor and, no, I mean, she has really impacted my life in ways that I can't even really express. Like, my heart is so full when I talk to her, when I see what she's working on. I can't wait for my kids to meet her and her family. Like, I think that's so valuable on so many different levels. And it just is so worthwhile to get involved in, because it really, as a mentor, it maybe takes between 2 and 3 hours of my time a week. That's it. And like, how often, I mean, we're on Facebook, so not to slam Facebook, but how many times you sit there and you just scroll through Facebook and it's like 2 hours later.
Easily eat up a couple hours a day.
Exactly. So just think, you could be making an impact on your own life and the life of a refugee student that really, like, it is so life-changing. It's so life-changing. And I think, in addition to the kindness and compassion, it's the hope. It's in situations that seem so dire, the people that seem to thrive are the people that are able to maintain some sort of hope. My adopted parents were Jewish. So my mother had relatives perish in concentration camps in the Holocaust. And the people that have survived and didn't lose hope in humanity chose to see, even in the most horrific conditions, the most horrific torture, still chose to see the glimmers of hope in their situation. And getting involved in the refugee film school, it gives these kids hope. They feel seen, and it also gives them hope and skills for their future. There's actually another student, I think she might have graduated, that I'm working with in my coaching practice to help me with some software setup, because it's something that this person can do virtually.
That's so smart. They can help almost everything.
They can, yeah. And that's like the software stuff, the IT stuff, not my strength. Yeah. I'm not comfortable with it. And she's amazing. It's like boom, boom, boom. And our time zones are different. So it's nighttime when it's there, when it's daytime here, and vice versa. So I wake up and all this stuff is done. And I would much rather pay her, because I know it helps her survive and keep a roof over her head and food on the table. And there are plenty of like really talented people here that can do it. And not to say that what she charges is inexpensive, but it's very reasonable. And for what I'm getting and how it's working, like, it's flowing into the world, supporting someone that really needs it and really helping them.
It's a double function. I mean, you get work done and you feel good because you're helping somebody, and they feel good because they're learning something, working with a real client. Granted, those kids, 13, 14, 15 years old, but they have the capability to understand the software, the whatever technology that we refuse to understand. So it is a win-win for everyone. Now, with our audience listening, I want to give them a little perspective, because I think we talk a lot about, refugee film school, but the last couple time, I don't even know that we actually describe what is a refugee film school is. So it's a very grassroots organization, starting out by the founder of Jenna Stanfield. She is a professional speaker, songwriter, singer, and she traveled the world to do good causes all the time. And before the pandemic, she found Together for Good, which is an organization in Malaysia who help refugees. So she started the refugee film school with a handful of kids, just wanted to help those kids learning the digital, learning the video editing to make a living on their own. So when the pandemic happened, and she started doing the Zoom interacting and help them and teach them all those skills through Zoom. And now she just opened the door to accept more students. So this is from a grassroots organization that we are literally recruiting people that we intimately know. We don't just go out, we vet the person who want to be a mentor, make sure that they really have good intention, because you are working with minors. You are working with kids that they can be very vulnerable. So so any support is welcome. And Susan is a testimonial of somebody who just, started this journey a couple months ago. And I'm so, so glad to hear all these wonderful things that, not only she got her work done, but she feel good, impacting lives. And it's just all good all around. So I really want to say thank you for coming up here to share your experience with us and with our audience.
I'm so happy to do that.
Is there any last word you want to tell our audience about anything, about your coaching, your experience, anything?
Yeah, I just, the one thing I want to share is that some people are, because to have compassion, it takes vulnerability. And some people it's uncomfortable for them. And compassion is a practice that you can build. There's loving kindness meditations. There's all different articles out there that you could search to build compassion. But I think at the end of the day, remember, we all have a common humanity. We're all so similar in so many different ways. And you honestly really risk nothing in making a difference in a life, because it ultimately makes a difference in your own.
I think at the end of the day, you sleep with a smile on your face, because you are knowing that you have impacted some little kid across the ocean, across the continents, who has hope and who adore you for what you're doing for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I believe that the act of kindness, it benefits both ways, benefit the other person and yourself as well, because you done it and you feel good about doing that.
But it's okay if you want to do it for a selfish reason, do it anyway. Yes, a lot of time we do it because we want to feel good, but I'm telling you, it feels good because you know that you have done a good deed for the younger generation. And you can help humanity across the world, anywhere, and you can do it at the comfort of your own home through Zoom. So
usually when people do the act of kindness, they don't think about themselves. They think about the recipient.
Right. But a lot of time we do feel good when you give something to somebody and they happy. You're happy because they're happy. So I'm just being sarcastic, Do it. Just do it because it makes you feel good. Well, thank you so much, Susan. If people want to find you, where is the best place to find you?
They can go on my website. It's www.sacredsoulventures, all one word, .life. And I'm also on Facebook, Sacred Soul Ventures, Instagram, and TikTok, believe it or not. So
I don't even
dance,
go
though.
There.
I don't dance.
I know. Yeah. It's just like, I cannot follow one more platform. It just, but anyway, we have a really wonderful time, and thank you so much. Any last words, Sarah?
Well, my last word is that I like to invite Susan to post your contact, whatever you like our audience to contact you below our video, so that people can read you.
And we also would like to post the Refugee Film School link. So if you have listened to our story and the story of those refugee students, and you are inclined to donate, support, anything is, appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful.
Thank you so much for being on. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome.